3 in a row.
3 in a row, and we have to acknowledge he's not in a black shirt. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, you had to bring that up, right? So that was not by design. That was because of this problem that I have right now.
No, I was saying you look good.
Well, thanks, but it wasn't.
You look sharp, dude.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. That's good. If I had planned it, it would feel much better. But the truth is, I have outgrown my shirts, so I didn't have any clean, large shirts today. So it was either that or wear a shirt that looks like it came from me in 5th grade. So.
Well, you look sharp.
Thanks. No, I love this shirt. It's a great shirt. I don't get to wear it, and it's really not within our look, being in all black. But so when I went to try on, I went to get dressed this morning, my limited section of the
what fits
20 of the post-COVID me.
I have that problem too.
Which, COVID-19 did not mean put 19 pounds on. It means something else. But the 19 is what I somehow miraculously put on. So there's more of me to get sick or to live in life. So anyway, hey, you've made it all the way through the video. These people have made it this far. They've actually really still watching. They're still on.
Yay.
That's so the only reason I'm saying that is because you're still here, and I want to know who you are, because we ask every video. We've said, okay, if you're still here, we always say this at the end, whether it's 45 minutes or an hour in. Now we're saying it right now. Guess what? Right now, you've made it this far. That's a really big deal. Thank you so much for watching this far. So over 100 people that said watched it last week. So maybe that's one of you. So if they're still here, and I'm going to say this now rather than at the end, that if you've made it this far, that if you are one of the first people, so I'm going to go the first 3 people that put a comment on this YouTube video. Now, if you're hearing this on the audio, if you're hearing this on the podcast format, which is downloadable from the website, which is on website or Spotify, Apple,
etc.
iTunes, all those. So if you hear that way, the first email or comment, so email from those or comment from this, we are going to Venmo them immediately $100 each. Dude. Cash, U.S. dollars. So wherever you're watching this in the world, even if it's from Bangladesh, you're going to get $100. I don't know, because I don't know where people are that are listening to this. It tells us.
Venmo.
Yeah, however, whatever version, if you don't have Venmo or if you have access to something that we can, is that what you meant, Cash App?
Cash App, PayPal.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first 3 people. So today is March 1st. Happy March. Ooh. February's over. March 1st, first 3 people adding a comment, one form or another. Okay, now for 4 through 10, you're going to get $100 gift card to the salon. If you don't live in the area, if you live somewhere else, you can use it on hair products, our own professional brand of hair care products. So that's 4 through 10 comments for. So if you're the 4th person or the 4th email or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're still here, you're still listening. Look, there's no comments so far. So if you're
that's a pretty freaking cool thing,
No strings.
That's
I'm not going to BS you.
That's 3 people get $100, and then other people get really great hair products if you don't live here, or you can come.
Yeah, you can use it in the salon too. Yeah, if you're someone local, and guess what? Even if you work here and you watch this, and
I know, I've already thought about that. I was like, wait a minute.
Hey, I'm gonna get the $100. Yeah, and all I do is watch to this point. I don't even know what they said after that. But whatever they said, they said. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. This is week number 3. I'll remind you about that part again. You can either thumbs up it, like it, subscribe it. People always ask that stuff. You don't have to do any of that. But if you do it, maybe we'll get more than 116 views. Wow.
Wow, you'll make my day.
And not that that even matters. We actually use, the plan is to use these for other segments so that we can slice out pieces of this to put on other platforms to inform, educate, add value to whatever we can for people out there in the world. So my name is Rob DeLella. I'm one of the owners of Robert of Philadelphia Salons. This is a conversation not necessarily about hair. I don't have hair. I don't do hair. But I'm one of the owners of a hair salon chain with some incredible people, one of them being my daughter, Alexi, who is involved in many, many ways with the business and has been since she was born for a few weeks now, a couple minutes.
Couple minutes. So I'm getting old. I'm almost 30.
Yeah,
I feel.
I'm getting old, huh?
Yeah, and you're my dad, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
At least he looks pretty cool for my dad. He's pretty cool. He's like the coolest guy. He's nicest, coolest guy ever.
That's very nice of you to say. You've always been very kind. It's very, very nice. I appreciate that. Almost 30. Oh, having a daughter almost 30. Wow. Imagine that. That's incredible. Although 30 is not old. Like, it's not at all. It's
Yeah, well,
crazy.
to a millennial, yeah.
She's still a baby. Still so much to go. Like, there's no... Wow. 30's just, it's nothing.
Jade just turned 32.
That was a big birthday.
And I
Happy
kind of
birthday,
started
Jade.
with Jade, so this is like, it's getting real now.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jade. Big party night this weekend, huh? Party weekend. All right. Well, there's a few different topics that we're going to be talking about on this episode. We have a list here, but we don't always get through everything. We get through some of it. So
Because we both talk and go on tangents like that.
yeah. I was at the school again this morning, at a different school. We're at the Collier County VOTAC, Lorenzo Walker VOTAC is what it's called. It's the Cosmetology program for Collier County. And we have a lot of graduates from that program going back way, many, many years.
Yeah, that's true.
Our core group from Bayfront, many of them are graduates from there. And Brenda was there this morning, and BB, and David,
Oh, wow,
and
Brenda
Yelly.
was there. I didn't know.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
Wow.
Brenda's a graduate from that program from a while back, and
Wow.
she met a couple of potential awesome associates to
Oh, yeah, she
partner with
needs
her.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Met some really good, strong. I mean, they've got a great group of students that are really excited and motivated. You can tell they all wanted to be there. Sometimes you go to schools and, some of the students maybe you're just having an off day or whatever it is, or some of them are just doing cosmetology program because they've got to do something, and their whole heart is not all the way into it. And you can't tell, but just by one visit. But sometimes you can get a pretty good sense of who's there and whether they're really interested in this as a career and this
as
is
a
what they want.
passion, like you can see if it's somebody's passion or if they're just, I don't know. I can kind of get that vibe.
Is it a
sometimes.
calling? Is it something that they've just it's been in their heart for a long time, and now they're finally getting to follow
Live it
through
out.
on what it is that they love. So important. All right, well, I'll let you start with one of yours today, so we get to that first if you want to do one of those
So let's
first.
see.
Keep talking. I'm getting some water.
Okay, that works. So what, like how have we? I mean, we've talked about previously in the past how we've changed since the pandemic, but I wanted to kind of specifically talk about how the front of the house has changed since the pandemic, and what we're doing. Where areas of this, where it used to be so radically different to where it is now, and what you're doing to still provide that extra little things we can still do to kick butt and be amazing and love people and provide amazing service. Because that's kind of like my role is, that's what I get to do all day is take care of guests. So I was just thinking what has changed for us. We have people, it's actually revolutionized kind of our business, the pandemic, and we now have people at home answering the phones. We're super short staffed right now, so everybody's kind of helping. We even have associates. Before, it used to be like nobody could check anybody out. Like it was just strictly the desk, and the desk needed to be there. Stuff wasn't going to happen, And now it's amazing how much everybody has stepped up and is willing to help and willing to be a part of us and what we do. They to see those who just are willing to step up and grow with us, even though we don't even know, every day is different here. We don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, but seeing everybody else, associates are, we have Allie and Jasmine at the Village, David at Bayfront. These are associates who they kind of can run a whole front desk, where before that never would have been a part of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing to see how much they care about us, that they're willing to do that. Because before, I feel like it was kind of like a stigma, like, I don't know. We're in a different place as a business, and it's amazing when we have something like this happen.
Yeah, and it wasn't even by design. I mean, it was actually everything was kind of thrown at us when we got the message on Friday. I think it was May 8th.
Gosh, yeah.
It was Michelle's birthday on May 8th, 2020. The governor came out and said salons can be open on May 11th, which was a Monday.
That was Friday.
So Friday, May 8th was when we got the message from the governor, and you could be open. And there weren't any super specific ways to do it. It was very broad. There was not a clear-cut pathway as to how to do it. They obviously social distancing and masks, and there were a lot of recommendations. And to do it safely, we had to kind of invent how it needed to be done, because we have really big salons and we have a lot of people, and how to manage the whole process. So it sort of worked out to keep the number of people down in the salon, so there weren't as many people in there, to have people prepay, pay beforehand, to not handle transactions within the salon, because we weren't set up to handle transactions the new way, or the way that we were supposed to be, because we've learned a lot obviously since then. And it's been a while since we're coming up on a year now, basically a year since since the shutdown
started,
anyway.
yeah.
Close to the year of the shutdown, because it was like end of March last year. Yeah. And we opened back up on May 11th. 10th was a Sunday, and then we opened up on the 11th because we started sending out invoices, so we were having people pay beforehand. And we still have some of that set up now, so there's still that option for people to pay beforehand, so there's less activity in the salon. That was the whole point of it. It also, okay, you go, well, why isn't everything back to normal? Well, what is normal right now? And we're doing what we can to continue to adapt. So yes, we're phones, sometimes you wouldn't know if you called where the person was that's answering the phone, the way we're connected, and we put in a new phone system. And we have really bugs to work out and things to, tweak, and your feedback is always welcome. But because you're why we're here, those of you that are out there that are a part of our family and our community of people. So it wasn't like we just said, oh, we're just going to cut costs and do this. That wasn't the intent at all. It was not about finance. It was literally about safety. Like, how do we do this the right way? Well, then on top of that, you also have this pandemic has created another thing in the world, another phenomenon where people have reevaluated what is important to them, what they value, what is most important to them. And people have, kind of realigned their lives around, well, I recognize that, I was working my whatever off at work. I was doing too much over here. My life wasn't in balance, and I want to put it in balance now, or this isn't really my calling, or this isn't really what I want to do, or my husband went back to work, and, we don't have help. We need help with the kids, so I can't be there as much. So people, did what they needed to do. So we don't have as many people, because some people never came back. They left, took a leave from the pandemic and the closure, and didn't come back, or have decided to do something else, or have decided that, which is great for people to make that move into something maybe they always wanted to do or thought about. For some people, it really affirmed what their passion is, what they really love. They want this, they need this, this fulfills them. This gives them purpose in life to be involved with our brand, with our way, and how we do life, and how we have this as a career and as a calling. It reaffirmed it, it strengthened it, it elevated it. People were willing to do whatever it took to make it happen, and they did. And so we ended up with sort of this hybrid version of it, and it's by no means perfect. It's got a lot of adjustments to do, and everybody's kind of filling in. But when people say, well, how did you adjust? Because you probably got that question from a moderated group on Facebook, which is like a salon.
It's like a salons all over the United States or whatever.
Asking that question. What are you doing now? How are you doing it? So we want to make sure that we're providing the same love and value and experience for people. But obviously it's going to be different. I mean, the way the salons are configured, the way the welcome is, the way the walk-in is, the way the touch points, the spacing.
People coming in, we have people on shifts, so there's not going to be as many people. People are here at 8 o'clock in the morning, or 7:00 at night, we have different glasses. I think it's so tacky, giving people a drink in a paper cup, but different ways that we've adjusted to being here and all that's going on right now.
So, there's a lot of ways we answer that, and we're still, making adjustments. We're bringing back people that you've loved, that I've loved, that have been a part of our family, who fit very well, they're coming back into the fold. We got a couple of great surprises coming up this week that people are going to be really happy about. Exciting for us, and good to have back on the team and here to provide the things that everybody loves. So the support team anyway too.
Yes.
And so we're
well,
doing
and
what we can.
and what's amazing is that's what I was saying. How long, even the senior stylists at Bayfront, who some of them have been here forever and they don't even have time know how to work. Like Chris, he doesn't know how to always work timely. And I was there the other day, and he was checking somebody out.
He's actually better on that than me now. I watched him do it the other day last week. He's really good on it. Chris, yeah, I watched you.
And how everybody in different areas have kind of just stepped up. We're just doing, there's obviously different levels of it, but I think we're finally at a place where we're able to kind of figuring out the path a little bit more than we were a year ago,
Making those adjustments, hiring people. I mean, right now, a lot of people have jobs in this market, or they really do. I mean, even though I'm hearing from a lot of people that I know in the hospitality industry, it's clearly down from last year. Hotels, restaurants, I'm hearing, because their capacity is not the same, so it would have to be down. So I know those numbers are down, but employment wise, but the real estate market is so high that people are finding jobs in those areas too. Right. So the market, it's just different. People are in different places, and we're adjusting, adapting, and now on a big hiring blitz, which is still happening right now too. So bring those people back. And
it's interesting how, even as like a business owner, how you realize that throughout a course of a time, you have your priorities are always going to change, especially since this last year. I really realized that, last May, our priorities were a lot different than they are now. Even readjusting like the text message, and every day something else is.
Well, last May it was literally survival. It was like it was survival. It was before we knew the PPP was confirmed. Nancy Pelosi and Marco Rubio and all the rest of them were still fighting over how it was going to be worded and how it was going to be done, and all the rest of that. We didn't know if that was going to be able to help us or not. We were just literally thinking about survival. Like, what are we going to do? So we had gotten the PPP by May. But at that point, then what is it going to be like? What is the world going to be like? What is the demand going to be like? How are people going to want to come back? Can they come back? Will they come back? And even still, we definitely don't have the numbers that we had last year. We're not seeing as many people. We're seeing about 20% fewer in February, which closed on Saturday, so the end of the month. We've got to make adjustments for that too. We've been through similar things, nothing near this at all, ever, in our 40-year history. Yeah. It's something completely different, but, our ability and the people within the organization's ability to continue to adapt, evolve, make changes to how we're doing it. And I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. I also want to make sure that, people that are here, that you're happy here, that you love the experience, that you love the service, and whether you're working here or being a guest of ours or being a part of the family in whatever capacity, want to make sure that we're doing our job to give you value, that you love it, that you even despite all that's going on, that it's still, we're still the same under the masks.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That I feel like even guests have been patient with us, including the staff as well, because sometimes I don't think we were able to provide. We were short on staff. We didn't know what we were doing. We're just all over the place. So I feel like
still don't know what we're doing.
Well, but I mean, I feel like we are at least like have a little bit of a.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
No,
but there are days where we don't know what we're doing.
No, we don't. I mean, but it's always changing. That's my point. It's always changing. But people have just
some semblance. I mean, we got to know what we're. To be here 40 years, you have to have something going right. and some things go right. And there's a
Right.
lot of good souls in here that just
That's what
know
I
how
mean.
to take care of people.
Yes,
You know,
yeah,
that's the bottom
yeah.
line, just taking care of people, doing the right thing. It might not be in the manual that way, but we're going to figure out how to get it done and how to cover that gray for you and keep you safe and make sure that your children are okay with you getting out of the house and coming to a salon. You're not going to Publix, you're coming to the salon, so that's okay.
Yeah. And so one last thing about something that's interesting as we get farther along in the pandemic that I've noticed maybe just within like the last week since the vaccine has started going out more is people are now, was the first thing I've experienced in the last week or so is people are questioning wearing a mask, where before that I didn't get that very often. But within the last week, I've had several people upset about having to wear a mask because they have the vaccine. So it's just interesting. This whole thing is interesting because we're just doing our best to make sure everybody's safe.
You know, that's a completely new area that we have no guidance on whatsoever. We have no guidance. Like, is that okay? We have not been told. We have not seen any science on it. We don't know the impact of that. We don't know if that's okay to say yes or no. And what if you haven't? And we have to check. And you know, like that puts responsibility on us. We don't know. It's a whole new area. And you know, people are getting upset about it. Like, well, I'm vaccinated, so I don't need one. And I don't know, you know, like that's something we've got to contend with. And
that's another thing. It's interesting to see, you know, that how
what
this
happens
is all
then.
playing out.
So, you know, if you're a salon owner and you've got some interesting insight on that, wherever you are in the world, I'd like to hear about it. I'm curious myself to hear. Or if you visit salons and you've heard otherwise, you know, I'd like to hear your input, your take on that. Because right now I don't know, and I don't know if I've seen anything on it either. You know, I don't know like the answer to that. But you know, right now we're just still following the same guidelines that we've had and that we will until we don't, and that's today. Next on the docket, you know, I'm looking up the AC here because it feels like it's getting warm, and I don't know if that's because I'm talking too much or if it's actually getting warm.
I don't think so. I checked it. Oh, which one's that?
It's not very cold. See, that's been on 72 for a while.
Which one's that one? This one. That has to be this. It is this one. Okay. We've had like a horrible AC.
That hasn't been able to get us cool yet. I've had it on 72 since I've been here.
I turned that one down on 72 too.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay.
It usually does it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was hot. I mean, 74.
I thought it was hot too, but I was not gonna say it because I feel like I'll jinx it. AC break
All
alarm.
right. Not good news.
It's okay. We'll get it. We got it.
I know it's hot outside, but it still should get to that temp. All right. Nothing we can do in this minute right now. Okay. All right. Moving on. Next.
It's okay. It'll priority.
Yeah, right. All right. We're not going to do the art of communicating. All right. You made the end of it. Well, let's see. General insight. People are not. Okay. What's next on your list?
I like that FaceTime consult.
Oh, I just saw that beforehand. We had somebody knock on the door. The doors are locked here on Mondays because we're technically closed at this location. And somebody knocked on the door to make an appointment, which, of course, you know, happy to make an appointment. And Lexi was booking the appointment for about later this week with a stylist here, and needed to know how much time and, you know, what services to book.
She wanted like a quote, and I don't necessarily like to give an accurate quote because I could clearly see her hair was.
It had been a while since she'd been to a salon, so she needed.
Hair,
she had tried to do some things on her own, and she needed, you know, needed some time with a stylist at this point because she had COVID hair. Yeah, like literally hadn't been in a salon in a while.
And sometimes though, and that's where, you know, automatically it can go to a color correction, and she gets quoted some super high price, and then it scares her. So I was like, let's like have a stylist look at your hair right now, and so we can see what we can do. So, so I FaceTimed somebody to look at her hair, so I could give her a better accurate timing and etc. But that's a good point in the way the world's going as well.
Well, why not? I mean, you know, that also saves time in the salon, so you're not interacting close with somebody else if that's important and that matters, and it does, and it should. You know, like in this, it can't hurt to have distancing at this point vaccinated or not. So it's it also saves time for both. I mean, that's already handled. We already have a sense of what she needs to have done.
Well, right. Then she
before
comes in and you're already familiar with that person. And I've seen other salons are doing virtual consults as well. But that saves time. You already know what you're doing. You can have it ready to go. So you're not sitting there talking for 15 minutes and then have to go mix and et cetera, you know.
Yeah.
So that help. And you can make sure you have the appropriate time booked because, you know, then scheduling conflicts happen if you don't, you know, for new guests.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it good for everybody timing wise. It was just something interesting that I saw happening live because she was FaceTiming her right away. For the woman was here and Alexi was FaceTiming. So it's like something that, we have to look at more. I think explore that more anyway because I think that could be beneficial for everyone as far as timing goes. You know, you can do the full consult, but if you had a consult, we're set up to do it. I know our software does it too. Our software
you can do it right.
Sets it up right from the software. Yeah. There was another one that I saw on here. Oh, in
I think I'm worried he's worried about Daisy. Are you okay?
no, I'm over that.
Okay.
I'm totally done. I'm just going to go with the sweat. It's okay. I'm good. I mean, it's really done.
Okay.
Like it's out of my head.
Okay.
For the moment, I'm trying to decide on which one of these next two to go on here, and they both kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to start. I guess I will. It kind of goes in line with a lot of the things that we talk about, but as a sort of I wouldn't call it a tip, but I read a lot of things about how to just get better.
No, like but my whole life, he's always had some self-help book to make.
Yeah, I'm just kind of addicted to like what's new, how can I do more, how can I be more, how can I have more, just always looking for an edge or how to make a difference in a bigger way, and what can I learn, and there's so many resources now to that. But I came across a YouTube video that is an audiobook that is by an author named Thich Nhat Hanh, and he's got quite a few books out, and I think he's like from the Buddha type era of communicating, and the book is The Art of Communicating. I first found out about Thich Nhat Hanh from a great and very dear friend of mine who has since passed, Robert Langsam. He was one of my best friends and man who I love and will love always, and I appreciate everything he's been for me in my life and done for me in my life. And he used to talk about this guy a lot. He read of him a lot. He studied him a lot, and he would talk about things he was getting from him. And I never really kind of dabbled in any of his stuff into the world of Buddhism or any of that stuff because he got into meditating and things like that. And I didn't do any of that. I meditated I tried it a little bit and, never kept it up as a practice, although I found value in it, but I just wasn't doing it. And this book isn't particularly about meditation, but I was listening to the audio portion of it, and I ended up buying the book itself. And it was talking about food. It was talking about eating, and I thought food was just. I always think of food as what we put in our body. Yeah, we have to watch out what we put in our body. This was a segment of the book, and he was saying that everything we consume acts either to heal us or to poison us. We tend to think of nourishment only as what we take in through our mouths. But what we consume with our eyes, our ears, our noses, our tongues, and our bodies is also food. The conversations going on around us and those we participate in are also food. Are we consuming and creating the kind of food that is healthy for us and helps us grow? So when I heard that, it caught my attention. I was listening. Okay, well, because I sometimes think about toxic people and people who bring us down.
That's what I was so about to say. That's so crazy.
Like that is a form of nourishment, and not, I don't think of it like that. But when I think about it, like they're feeding me. What are they feeding me? Are they feeding me, poison
it's
or
the
negative
energy,
or stuff
thought,
that hurts? And
and what it does to you and your soul. That's so true.
So when we say something that nourishes us and uplifts the people around us, we are feeding love and compassion. When we speak and act in a way that causes tension and anger, we are nourishing violence and suffering. We often ingest toxic communication from those around us and from what we watch and read. Are we ingesting things that grow our understanding and compassion? If so, that's good food. Often we ingest communication that makes us feel bad or insecure about ourselves or judgmental and superior to others. We can think about our communication in terms of nourishment and consumption. So this was like kind of a big deal. Like this was one little segment. I think I was using it to fall asleep to it one night. I remember hearing it like as I was falling asleep, and then it plays a bunch of stuff that I don't know whether it gets in my head or not because I fall asleep. I don't know how much of it I hear or I don't hear, but I remember waking up the next morning and trying to remember what segment that was on the audiobook. So I went back to it the next day. I was listening to it again and just kind of replaying it in my life to think of, and there were some specific things they said, and I didn't even print them for this, but there were specific things they were saying in there that you bring toxins. Okay, so the toxic nature of it, but also being mindful of what you're saying to other, like the words that you say to other, the impact that has on another person, that when you're artfully thinking about it, see if I see that part here. So nourishing and healing communication is the food of our relationships. Sometimes one cruel utterance can make the other person suffer for many years, and we will suffer for many years too. In a state of anger or fear, we may say something that can be poisonous and destructive. If we swallow poison, it can stay within us for a long time, slowly killing our relationship. We may not even know what we said or did that started to poison the relationship. We may not even know what we said or did that started to poison the relationship. But we have the antidote: mindful compassion and loving communication. Love, respect, and friendship all need food to survive. With mindfulness, we can produce thoughts, speech, and actions that will feed our relationship and help them grow and thrive. So there's a lot to that whole segment, and I just kind of touched on a few chunks or pieces of that. But the ultimately, what I kind of was left with after hearing it and absorbing what little bit I did of it was, what if in every interaction we had with somebody, we thought of it as our last? Not morbidly, but if, a lot of times we don't fully say to people what's really there. And I don't mean like tell them the truth, tell them how you really feel. I'm not talking about that kind of community. It could be if you're showering them with your true love for them, but not your complaints and your anger and your frustration. That's not the kind I'm talking about. But if you knew, or if I knew that this was our last conversation that we were going to have together, and we truly don't know, we don't ever know when that is, well, what would I say to you? Or how would I say it to you? Or what would I, because oftentimes when a person is gone is when we think of those things like, wow, they were so loving. They were so generous. They were so kind. They were so real. I really admired them. But it's after, like my friend Robert, who's passed, I never got the chance to tell the guy how much he meant to me and what a difference he made in my life, like how important of a human being he was for me being who I am. Like he was just an incredible, extraordinary guy. And I have so many regrets about that I never got a chance to share with him how much he meant to me and how much I love the guy. I love him. I think about him, as I was reading this guy, I could hear my friend Robert, like I could hear him. And he was so sarcastic and funny and just an incredible human being in so many ways, but I never got to share that with him. But if we thought like that, like, and I don't mean like, oh gosh, I may never see you again. I love you so much. But just pointing out something that, that I love about you, or that I care about you, or that, you are always so concerned about the way of another person feels. Like what does he think? Is he going to be okay with that? Is he cool enough? Is he still thinking about the AC? The AC is my responsibility. I wish I'd fix that AC. Damn that AC. I want him to be cooler. I hope he feels okay. And, your genuine thoughtfulness of how I am always, have I eaten? Have I, you're always, you're so kind-hearted and loving. And, I'm always pretty busy when we're together, like I'm getting stuff done and we're doing stuff. And so I don't always stop and say how much I love you and I care about you and I appreciate you in my life and how much you mean to me and how much I am who I am because of who you are. And you make me who I am because of who you are and the ways that you are. And you make me want to do more of what I do. And I get to do more of what I do because of who you are. So if we had the mindfulness or the thoughtfulness around that, because there is that love inside of everybody. There's that, he called it Buddha in the book, that Buddha, this was another segment, and it's God or it's, whatever it is to you. Everybody has their own version of that, but that's in everybody, although it may not express themselves when they're driving on the road or when you see them in a grocery store or when they have a mask on, because you can't tell if it's there, you don't know, but it's there. And if you could say something or you could do something or be a particular way that you could see that love, that spirit, that who that human is, or do whatever you can to have that side of them be seen. So,
well, and what I've realized for myself personally is that sometimes the people who do bring that out in me, I want to over compliment them because, well, just point out what they do because they make my job enjoyable. And I love pointing out that stuff because then that's like feeding yourself as well. Pointing out employees are always like, oh my gosh, you're just like your dad, because I'm always telling employee or coworkers, I'm always like, oh my gosh, you're doing so great. I'm so proud of you. And I genuinely am I mean every word I say, because it's so rewarding, and people like that just make my life happier every day. And I mean every word. But when I get to acknowledge them, that makes me, that you're feeding yourself as well, you're feeding yourself with that positivity and reminding yourself why we do what we do, and in life.
Yeah. Well, and when you're sharing with somebody, my awe over who they are this morning at the school, and I'm listening to Yelly and to David, who are, 2 year, both of them, I think about 2 year and a half, maybe 2 years for both of them. I know it is for David for sure 2 years, and I think pretty close to that for Yelly.
It was not long after him.
Right. 2 year family members, people in the family, and listening to them share about their roles in the family or in the organization. I was so blown away, who these people are. They are the leaders now, not someday. They are leading.
Time. You have a timer? Okay, good. I just want to make sure. I'm sorry.
They're the leaders now, and they're on the edge already. Sometimes you hear somebody speak about something and you're like, well, maybe I wouldn't have quite said it like that, or that's not really true. I mean, there's some of it that's good. Every word that came out of their mouths, I was like, wow, I never even thought of what they're saying, how they're sharing that and what they're sharing about what their role is and how they've grown and developed and who they are to people, and how, Yelly deals with challenges and deals with a client that she's not certain about and her fears and the ways that she's gotten through that, and how David, deals with working as a partner with Lisa and how much he's grown, and just totally in awe of, seeing Javier last week and what he was, where he is. And, he was coming to one of the other salons, and just how, they have so much love for each other. They come into the program together, and, seeing them share and talk together. And I don't know, that inspires me the same way. And you talk about, giving them feedback. It's just like, I'm just recognizing your awesomeness and being around that and feeding off that, and not phony bullshit. I'm talking about, I've seen you go from here to here and move mountains despite all the circumstances. You're not about all your circumstances. You're not always whining about how little you make and how much you work and how life is hard. And it is hard. And you do make, you're not at that level you want to be at. You want to make more. You want to be more. You want to do more. And you're not there. You're working towards that. And you're doing it anyway, successfully and extraordinarily and amazingly. And
no matter the situation here, you're just...
And that's talking to all of you. That's not just singling out that group, because that group represents all of you, because who they are got to be by the team that they work with. They work together. And So, that really goes back to this thing called art of communicating. The essential foods was the segment of this. The essential foods, like what are you being fed with? What are you feeding your mind with? What are you feeding your soul with? And, I have enough self-talk that is negative and destructive to do my own damage. I don't need any more toxicity going in because there's enough of it on its own. So, and I'm not talking about phoniness or fluff and not authenticity or being real. It was one of the things they talked about in the school this morning, was that everybody seems pretty authentic, pretty true to themselves, pretty owning who they are,
genuine,
with integrity, being genuine and real. And that's where, I'm at with this, but just keeping that loop of feeding ourselves. So there's no answer to it. It's just a conversation I wanted to introduce because I think, it kind of fits with making sure that the people we surround ourselves with are that
life
type.
In general.
Yeah.
That's like goes towards so much. What do we get time?
I'm good on that, but you have to go though. Is that
No.
the time?
No, I just want to make sure the timer. Oh,
Yep.
it's on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
in here,
kept
sorry.
thinking that. Sorry, I'm paranoid that this is going to shut off and that we're going to be talking.
No, we're still good.
To
We're still
ourselves.
good. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye
I
on
keep
this
saying
timer.
that. Okay, I get nervous. That's
I
a
thought
good
you had a
call.
dentist appointment again. So I was
No,
just
we
thinking,
already
okay.
did dentist this
Good.
morning. Mila's
Good.
good.
Yeah, we
Well, but even for myself, something I've learned in my almost 30 years. Well, I'm just kidding. Almost 29. Is I'm at this point in my life where I want to continue to grow and evolve and be the best woman, mother, take care of my body, I want to have goals and be better and make my life amazing and live my life through my values, what I value in my life. And I've learned the more you put, like I was telling him, I found this piece of paper I wrote in September with just goals I had written down. And I looked at it today and I wrote it down and I made a majority of those happen that I didn't even realize. I wasn't I was subconsciously looking at that every single day. This was stuff I just created because of that energy that I'm choosing to have in my life. I'm not going to continue. I can't continue to live in that toxic place in my head because I'm only hurting myself and then I hurt other people around me. And that's not who I want to be in my life. And that's not the kind of life I want to live. So it's pretty amazing when you let go of that, when you're aware of the toxicity in your life and what you're feeding yourself, like you're saying, what you can create and seeing what I've done for myself in the last 6 months.
Yeah, but awareness of it is great too, like in, writing down goals, but having the awareness to recognize, and that's a big part of it too. Awareness is knowing that, oh, you do have a choice. Oh, I do have a choice. I do not have to have this in my life. I do not have to, I'm in charge of my life. I don't have to have him, her, this or that, even if it's a family member that is toxic in your life, you can still love them from a distance. And if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Oh, I have something great that we did this morning that I want to talk about in regard to those times where your head is, you're consumed with a problem, a big issue. So what we did this morning was I gave everybody, I don't know how many we gave out because I forget how many were there. I had enough to cover the class. Anyway, I handed everybody a $20. I had David pass out a $20 bill to everybody. And, some people were happy about getting the $20. And I said, no, that $20 is not for you. And I think there was a little bit of disappointment on some of their faces because they were like, ooh, I need gas money today. This is pretty good. Gas has gone up and I could use this. Thank you very much. But I know this because I see it for myself when I'm struggling and, dealing with my own stuff and I can't get through it. But the moment I turn my attention onto another and I do what I can for somebody else, like I give or support or in some way or another, my focus is on them, taking care of them. How can I support you and help you? And I go, you're so screwed up. I can't help anybody because I'm so screwed up myself. But if I could take myself out of the way enough to get in, support somebody else or do something for somebody else or do something special for somebody else, that it takes my mind off my own stuff. So anyway, with the $20 bill, I asked them to perform some act of kindness with the $20 bill. I put no restrictions on it. I didn't say any way that it was or needed to be. You know, they could do multiple, they could do one, they could do it any format that they want. Buy something for somebody, give it to somebody. I didn't even tell them that much. It's just perform an act of kindness on somebody. It was interesting because we had to leave. We were 20 minutes over for lunch. So when we left, when they
Did you
left,
give this to the students as well?
I handed it to the students. All the
Okay.
students got it. So there were maybe 15, I think, students
Okay.
there. And then there were the 4 people up front. So
Okay.
everybody got a $20 bill. It was like,
Okay.
here, you know, perform an act of kindness with this, whatever it was. Well, when they left for lunch, we stayed in the room. Yelly, Brenda, BB, and David, and Luann, the teacher, stayed in the room and we were chatting. And I looked around on the desks, and 6 of them left the $20 bill right on the desk. Like it was a homework assignment. They just left the $20 bill like it had no value to them. Like it literally was just, oh, well, that's homework. I got to take care of that later. There were $20 bills. I mean, I don't know if they were that trusting or whatever it was. It was like there were 6 $20 bills that were just on the tables in the room, not like security or anything like that. I don't know. I didn't say anything about it. I just thought, well, I guess that's how they looked at it. Well, it's not mine. I'm just going to leave it there. I'll get to my homework later. And give
Or maybe
it
they
later.
thought you were going to want it back or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I
Like maybe they thought,
got to give it back.
like,
It's just
like
could be.
like, because why would you not, why would you leave that there? If they thought, even if it wasn't, I don't know.
I don't know. And that might be because I think there was this, I've never done it before. So it was the first time I was testing it out. So I don't know. Like I didn't even ask for like feedback on it to see like what people thought. Like, but I just wanted to see. I was like, hey, listen, if you have something happen that is extraordinary. And I said, by the way, one of the things I did say was that I know that when I give, the more I give, the more I get. So usually if I give 20, I'm going to get 100 back some way. Like some way, some miracle's going to show up somehow.
So true. Yeah.
I don't know how, but it's just how it's the universe kind of works. Like something miraculous ends up happening. And, I'd been planning something like this. I wanted to just see where it went with it, but I don't know what they were. We'll find out, sort of the experiment of it anyway. So giving and getting. So kind of like those of you that are still here, you made it this far. You made it to the end. It's not really the end, but you made it this far. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, you're still here. Where are you from? We have people, we get to look and see where people came from on the video, like how YouTube suggested who should watch this video. And for some of you, YouTube suggested you watch this video. And one of the videos that we made 2 videos ago, the most suggested video, the video that suggested us the most, the title of it, I have no idea how they ended up recommending us in this, was How to Leave Your Wife. It tells you, YouTube gives us analytics, and they say the most referrals we gave you to watch your video was from the video, How to Leave Your Wife. Why would they ask us that? Or why would they say, come talk
Listen
to us after that?
Great.
I don't know.
What does that tell you about
I don't
you
know.
and I?
I don't know. I don't know what YouTube thinks of us. I don't know why they would think that we were a good match for somebody looking to leave their wife, but that's what it was. So where did you come from? How did you end up watching this? Did you already know? I don't know. We'll find out. Remember the deal, okay? It's still in there. 100 to the first 3 comments on here.
Ooh,
and then
$100.
$100, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle. Is it Zelle?
Zelly or something.
Yeah.
And
then 400. Then 4 through 10. 4 through 10.
$100.
Another $100 to our salons. Either way, okay.
Well, and one thing I wanted to say, just because we're in March, and this is so March tomorrow is Aubrey's birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Aubrey.
I had a daughter that I just can't believe it's been 10 years.
Wow.
So my daughter was born. She'd be 10 tomorrow. She lived for like 5 months, and interesting time in my life. However, it's just crazy. And then right about a week later is Poppy's birthday.
Yeah. So Aubrey, my granddaughter in heaven, was born with arthrogryposis, and she lived on a ventilator for 162. I don't forget the number.
Well, she came off the ventilator for a little bit, for like a month.
She was off the ventilator for a month.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I remember when did she go back on?
Yeah, she did.
She did go back on because I remember when
Yeah.
they decided to, she was not gonna make it. I guess I don't know how they even said that.
And this is where my father, at that point in time in my life, I was young. I didn't know what I was. Who knows? I still don't know what I'm doing. But at that time, I really didn't know what I was doing. And my father was just there for me like the whole time. I mean, I remember when she was passing away, and my dad was right next to me, and so that's why this guy.
Well, I mean, really, like 10 years ago in your life, you were what, 19, 18? How old were you?
19.
19. To have a baby on a ventilator, the baby lived only in the NICU center of Gulf Coast Children's Hospital.
Not Gulf Coast. It's
Children's Galsano.
Children's Galsano. Yeah.
Galsano, the Children's Hospital.
Amazing.
Yeah. Lived in the NICU center for her entire life, 100 and something days, and then for Lexi as a 19-year-old, 18-year-old mom, what did you say? 18 or 19? Do you know?
I started at 18, and then when she passed away, I was 19.
19, yeah, you had a birthday in the middle there, yeah. So to have to hold, so I remember that. I remember she was on, the baby was on a ventilator. So the ventilator in a baby, especially, she basically shakes them. It's like inside their lungs, and it's just like she's just shook because it's, I don't know how a ventilator works, but it's this tube in there that gives her oxygen. And they turned the ventilator off and pulled it out, took her off the vent, and she had a few minutes of life without the ventilator, and they knew she wouldn't live long without the vent. And to see her die in your arms, to see her pass and go to heaven, right in your arms. I mean, I can't even imagine, because I mean, from a father's perspective, watching their daughter go through that, and a mother watching their baby that, go through that, and to leave her like that. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot. I mean, that's just one of the things that you've been through, and that was a big deal. And it's hard to believe that was 10 years ago.
Well, it's her birthday. So
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
So Aubrey's looking down on us, and we have an Aubrey too in our family too. We have an Aubrey that is another. Well, Aubrey in ROP, who's at Bayfront, she was probably 10, 12.
I know.
When that happened.
But that's why I always, every time I see Aubrey, I'm like, Aubrey, because I just love Aubrey.
Aubrey's
because she's
special too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So happy birthday, Aubrey in heaven, and. That's a pretty. March is a special month. So, and then Poppy, the founder of our company, my dad, your grandfather. Happy birthday, Poppy, the pioneer, the dude, the man, the legend. Always.
What about? So I just wanted to. This is kind of silly, but it's a good title, and then we have to make sure we take a picture too. So there's this new show that I just watched it all in one day. Thank you very much. That's what I did. Like
a show, like a multi-episode show?
Yeah, 10
you
episodes.
You just binged on?
I think I stayed up almost all night last night.
What? Oh, yeah, last night?
I have to. That's how my brain works. I can't stop.
Can't wait a week? Can't wait a day?
No, yeah,
just
I got
keep going. Yeah, that's how some of those shows are. You're just like, next. I
don't even care. I'll stay up.
Yeah.
I'll sit up and watch it. But it's kind of corny and whatever. I don't care. But it's such a cute premise. It's very relatable. It's called what's it called? It's called Ginny and Georgia, and it's kind of one of those cheesy shows, whatever. But what's interesting that I like about it is it's just very relatable to like real world. Like it's a 30-year-old mom taking care of 2 kids, and she had her kids really young, and it's an interesting show, but it's getting a lot of publicity because they made a joke about Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift wrote this whole tweet about how dare they make a joke about her having too many boyfriends. That's sexist. But it was just funny.
She got offended.
She got very offended.
She's hurt.
She's not hurt when Kanye West did it, but when a Netflix show does it, she's gonna blast them.
Yeah.
And now the show's going to win awards. I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, yeah, it's going to give it more notoriety. It's great that she came out against it because now more people know about it.
Oh, I know. Now there's a bunch of news articles about it everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just gets a little too political. They don't know why they do that. But I do like how it's kind of reminds me of like Gilmore Girls, but more today. Like, that makes sense.
What was Gilmore Girls? So that was something when you were growing up?
It's like with the mom who's 5 minutes older than the daughter.
That's what Gilmore Girls was?
Yeah, basically.
When you were like a 90s show or something? Or
yeah.
2000?
Yeah.
Okay, so Netflix. So is this something that I would watch and enjoy? Or
yeah, I remember the show.
Yeah, Miss with Michelle. Okay, always looking for new shows.
It's cute. I mean,
Yeah,
it's cute.
we're trying to figure out what to watch. We're watching Good Girls, so we got through.
Yeah, if
season
you
3.
watch Good Girls, you'll
Good
watch.
Girls, I really like. Good soundtrack to that too. And is it Andrew McCarthy from The Breakfast Club from the '80s Brat Pack group? That's I think one of the producers of it. He's also in some of the episodes now too. But Andrew McCarthy's not somebody who you would really care about. But he showed up in the show, and I just remember him in The Breakfast Club and that Brat Pack and all the Simple Minds. Don't you forget about me?
I saw that movie like once, and back in my time, that was considered like a classic.
Breakfast Club.
So
I mean,
now
it wasn't
it's
even a
probably
movie that
older.
I liked. I don't even remember watching it, but
know
just
why
that group. It just
yes.
represented an era. Is
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was, and that group. And
Well, and wait, I just
Charlie
have-
Sheen was in that too.
What's funny in this show is it's Gen Z and a millennial's raising a Gen Z daughter, and what's so funny is the daughter goes and she's like, "Oh, what can I be? We're gonna be retro for Halloween," and then she goes, "We're gonna be Britney Spears," and it's just funny because that's considered retro, like the different looks of Britney Spears. Are you kidding me? That's retro. I mean, it's just funny how the world has changed.
Yeah, Britney is like.
Oh,
yeah, she was like,
Britney.
yeah. We saw Britney in concert together.
I know. We had like 8th row seats. Okay,
Yeah, in Gilbert,
that was
Arizona.
the best time of my life.
Yeah, Brittany took her
She's
time getting on
iconic.
stage. She took a really long.
Oh my God, we had to
really
wait like 2.5 hours for that.
in the. I don't know what that was. Why there was. Anyway, there was a delay of some sort. But and your brother fell asleep. Your brother.
I know
don't what-
he crashed and slept through like
yeah,
the whole thing.
he missed. Yeah,
He missed Brittany.
Kiss Me Baby one more time.
No, I think that point it was her.
She was
like
early
oops,
on.
I did it again.
Yeah, it was
think.
way early on. Yeah. She.
But she's in the news a lot too right now.
Yeah, as a whole, that could be a whole episode, right? Just Brittany.
Oh God,
what's
I
going
don't
on
even
with
know all
I
about it,
haven't
but
been
it's
following it.
interesting.
No, does she have yellow on?
She
or
has a
trapped?
documentary.
Yeah, you have
that's-
that bracelet on. She's being trapped. You saw the bracelet.
I just
being
go
held
to-
against her will.
I just go to read the comments. It's kind of, it's like one of those things you grab the popcorn and read.
All right, last topic. I didn't get a chance to talk about it this morning because at the school, but I did want to talk about the aspect of it's something new that I was noticing in the culture of our company, but also noticing in life in general. I went to the gym yesterday, so I go to a CrossFit gym and I work out as much as I can. But in the last year, I've also been eating as much as I can too. So it doesn't really work to work out a lot, but then eat a lot too. Like they don't balance
You've
each other
gone through
real
a
well.
lot.
So thanks. That was nice. Yeah, I have, but it's not. It's still. This doesn't justify 19
No,
pounds.
it's okay. I think I know.
No. And anyway, I went to the gym on a Sunday, and so in CrossFit, which people have opinions about CrossFit, but I love the environment of CrossFit. I love CrossFit because of the group. It's a group, and I can't work out on my own. I just can't. I don't have the ability to push myself beyond a certain point. Once I get to a certain point, when I'm on my own, it's too easy to give up. I'm just like, okay, that was enough.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
8 minutes
Yeah.
was fine.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you did 3 sets. That's good. All right, you did 25 burpees. You did 50 burpees. You did 100 burpees. Good enough. You're done. Well, in a group, I can't stop or give up as easy. I mean, I can, but there's accountability, right? Like it's embarrassing to stop in the middle of a workout of the day, a WOD in CrossFit. So you just keep going because you do it. You're within the group, and it keeps me going, and it pushes
to be
me
that person
further.
that's like
Never. It's the thing that has always
I can't do that.
been a huge benefit to me is that I do it to not be embarrassed or ashamed. Like I keep going, and I it works. It helps me. That's what it takes, and it's expensive. Yeah, you go. Well, you can do those same things at home, and we have a lot of the equipment that we could do at home, but just not the same. So I pay for that group. Well, Sundays, in particular, on Sundays, there's not most boxes, as they're called. Most CrossFit gyms are closed, but there's a group in our gym that opens it up. Alex and Ann, the owners of the gym, let this group open it up on a Sunday to do a custom WOD. And this group is kind of the elevated level type group. These
the
are
ones
like
that want to be there on Sunday
less-
that have
they're
the
just-
gym open up
just-
for them.
Yeah, that's just like the elevated level of sickness is what I call it. I mean, these people are like elite athletes in the world of CrossFit. And that's who mostly goes on Sundays. And then there's people like me sometimes that show up too. And usually when I go on a Sunday, if it's a partner WOD, a lot of times it is a partner WOD, and it's usually a long WOD. It's usually a lot of times over an hour, and it's continuous, and it's just a lot of whatever it is. And I'll go and be happy to not have a partner, just to kind of work out on my own and just kind of follow along and do my own little segment of stuff. We're still good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
I'll do my own thing, and it's okay for me not to be with a partner, because if I'm with a partner, if I'm with one of them, then I'm really in trouble, because they're like the elite level, and I'm just like an average guy in there, and not just an average guy, but I'm an average older guy, because the average age in there is like 25 to 35, I think. So I'm a couple minutes older than that, and so
Couple minutes. I got that.
So, going on a Sunday, I usually hang out on the side, or if somebody's at like a drop-in and they're not just a regular one of those elite types, we'll partner up, and that's fine, because we kind of lighten things up a little bit, not as much. Well, yesterday I made the mistake of getting there a little bit early, and somebody didn't have a partner. And when you're there early, you're kind of in the general mix of things, and they're like, "Who doesn't have a partner?" And I'm look down and look around and act like I'm not looking. Like when they're calling you on in a classroom, like, "Who has a question?" And I look down like, "Not me." And I'm just trying to, just play it off like, I'm fine. I'm alone. Yeah, but I don't have a partner. Don't ask me. I'm okay. And somebody said, "Rob, do you have a partner?" And I said, "No." I thought Javier was going to come and he was going to be my partner, but Javier wasn't there yet. So
Did he come?
he came, but he came later after I had already been assigned to one of the elite people. And then they give out what the WOD is. They say what the WOD is. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And usually when there's somebody elite, I don't ask them to dumb it down completely for me. So it's like, it was run a mile. Okay, run a mile. So you run a mile, come back, do 62 push-ups. Then you do 20 sets of 3 deadlifts, 3 clean and jerks, and 3 front squats. And then you, there was something in between there. Then you move on to the next 3 of 3 handstand push-ups. No, 5 handstand push-ups, 10 pistols, which is a movement that I can't do. It's just ridiculous. And 15 pull-ups. 10 rounds of that. 10 rounds of that. Then you do 62 push-ups, and then you run a mile as a buyout at the end, right? So this is the thing, and it's sick. It's insane. It's ridiculous. There's no way in the world I would ever commit to something like that. In fact, if I'd have known that was going to be it, I'd have probably figured out a way not to go and maybe just subconsciously overslept or something. But I was there, and I was in it, and it was too late. And, being in it and doing it and thinking about it, like, what am I crazy? Why do they do this? This is insane. Well, I'll never finish it. I can't do it. I'll never finish it. One moment at a time, keep doing it. But I never, ever, ever in my life would have even attempted something like that, let alone when I'm in a group, bringing out something more in me that I didn't know that I had. No, I didn't do it at any ridiculous pace. I did do it in under an hour. So we finished it in under an hour and partnered together. So, but it was a big deal because I'd never done a WOD quite like that. I've done 30 days of Murph before, which is a pretty big deal, but never done this particular WOD, and especially that I'm not in the best shape right now to be able to do that. But it elevated me. It brought me up to another place. So being with people that are a group of people that are going to bring out more in you, the best in you, and it just kind of reminded me of the culture that I hope that we have and that we want to continue to create, is that, being with people who are going to bring you up, elevate your game. Whether you're there or not, they're going to be pushing you to be better. And sometimes it's not always comfortable. You don't always like it. You don't wanna. You wanna. You're just not prepared for it.
How are you ever going to grow if you're comfortable?
Well, exactly. How am I ever going to not grow if I'm not comfortable? How am I ever going to fit into my other pants?
Physically. Bad analogy.
So either way, though, but just being surrounded by, like people that are out to make you better or out to be better or elevating your game or challenging you in some way. So that was my, thought process going through that. And I was, obviously the best part of a workout is the end when it's over and when you're finished and you're leaving the gym, because getting there and starting and preparing and going through it and all is the worst. I hate it. I don't love it at all, but it is the absolute best experience of it. So I was glad that I got picked, and I was glad, I had the partner that I had, and that it all worked out the way it did, but it did elevate me to another level. So to be thinking about, like, what is it for you, and are you surrounded with those people, and, are you making others better, and are others making you better? Are they calling you to be all you can be, and right. Or are they just protecting you from and keeping you from growing and developing? So if you got anything to say about that, add that too. Happy that you did. This one went a little bit longer. I don't know what segment we're on here. We're definitely over, and I know I got some calls.
Horrible. Yeah, but we do gotta. I mean, I probably should.
Got calls to do. So thanks for
kids.
tuning in. You got to get the kids. Thanks for being here back for this one. Remember what we said. You can also tune in again. Okay, next time. So if you missed out on the money this time, I don't know. We'll have something to surprise for you the next time.
It's money. Like, come on.
Who's listening? Is it you? Are you listening? Thank you
Even
for taking the
if
time to
you're
listen.
from India.
Yeah, wherever you are in the world,
'Cause
you can we'll still send you the goodies. I will send it to you in rupees. No, we won't. We'll send it US dollars. I don't know rupees, but they can convert it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Just
everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out.
you.
Lex, thanks for being here. Thanks
for
for
being my dad.
Yep. Thanks for Oh, cool. My pleasure.
Guess what? The
Privilege.
AC. No, it didn't go down. It went back up. Never mind.
All right. To be continued
Sorry.
on the AC. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
See you next week. Love you. Thanks. Bye.